Mental health care in the CYA is, in a word, a tragedy. It's a tragedy for the wards who get sicker and not healthier during their confinement. It's a tragedy for the staff who do not have the resources or the training or the numbers to care for the wards or to prevent suicides.
The major form of rehabilitation in the Youth Authority, by the way, are group sessions at night that occur in the dormitories at night. And they're carried out by youth counselors. The youth counselors are essentially the custodial staff. But none of them necessarily have any specialized training in counseling or just basic mental health therapy.
It was just a 12-step program, I think that's what it was called. And we just read step by step and watched movies, and that was it. You know, I think it was like after 3 weeks or something, we got a certificate saying that we completed the program.
At Ventura, I witnessed several treatment team conferences in which young women would come to a treatment team meeting, and the almost exclusively white, middle-aged male treatment team would challenge them to be more open and honest about their histories of sexual abuse and molestation. These young women, mostly young women of color, would often be reluctant to share that information with this treatment team, and I observed recommendations to add time to their sentences based on that.
They started giving me these high dosages of Thorazine. I didn't really know what I was taking at that time until people told me to get off of it because I would be zombied out for 3-4 days. I would sleep for 3 days, then I'd get up to eat, and they told me I'd be slobbering.
The nurse comes every night, and practically like the whole hallway is filled with them being in line waiting for their meds.
My son is currently a ward at the California Youth Authority. He is mentally ill. 4.5 months ago, my son was found near death in his cell. The report reads, upon reaching room 19, I looked inside and saw the ward sitting on the edge of his bunk with a shoestring tied around his neck. The ward appeared to be unconscious. His lips were purple, and his face was ash white. The report does not say why he attempted suicide. I'll tell you now. He did so to avoid being sold for sex by the tougher wards.
On January 19th, 2 cellmates who were considered high risk for suicide were found dead in their cells in a lockdown unit at Preston.
I had a phone call from my ex-wife, and she says Burrell is dead. And I had just spoke to him 2 days prior. I just could not believe that. And so I went into a shock. I cried, I screamed, and I think because she kept saying he's really dead. And I think that's when it really hit me, and I didn't get any sleep that night. I didn't sleep at all. I waited to catch the first bus out of Oakland to Stockton to go see, to go, to be there. That's all I remember.
Parents hoped their children would be changed for the better, only to see them emerge from the CYA harder, angrier, more mentally unstable, or more criminally sophisticated, if they emerge at all.
The day that I got out was really hard. Funny enough, I really actually didn't want to leave. I remember crying and just saying that I didn't want to leave. And he was asking me, like, why? And I told him that I was scared. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to leave. Just being in CYA, entering it as like a juvenile, and then coming out as an adult was like completely scary for me. Like I didn't know what to do. Like, they don't when you leave, they don't tell you, like, you know, we're going to follow up with you, or we have this program set up for you. I didn't know whether I was going to come out and just mess up again and end up going to jail for life, you know? So I was extremely, like, scared to be out on the streets. I didn't want to leave at all. And
I've talked to so many wards after they get out who have no way to pay their rent. They can't get a job because nobody will take a chance on you if they know you've got a record. They have a hard time getting into school because there are restrictions on what kind of financial aid you can get. And they really need a lot more support.
We, as citizens of this state interested in public safety, have a vested interest in making that return home as safe and as positive as we can.
The day after I got out, my mom took me to whatever random pharmacy store to get a toothbrush. And I'm standing there in front of all the toothbrushes that they have. And I stood there for 15 minutes just thinking, you know, this is way too difficult. I can't even pick out a toothbrush. And I just walked away from that aisle just feeling lost, even more lost than anything. Like, I'm gonna do something to go back in there because I don't wanna deal with this.
The California Youth Authority had a 91% recidivism rate, which means 9 out of every 10 of people getting out of YA within 3 years are gonna go back.
3 years after their release, 91% of the kids that spent time in a California Youth Authority institution were rearrested. Now the next question that comes up is, what happened to the other 9%? Well, they went back and they examined what happened to that 9%. They looked at death records, and they found that about 2% of them didn't recidivate because they were dead. You couldn't have a worse system.
I think that it is time to admit it, that the California Youth Authority has been a failure. The question now is what to do. And that really is the question before us, what to do.
The first thing I would do is get rid of the big institutions. I would have the institutions located in the communities where these young people live and where we could make connections with them, with agencies in the community who could serve them once they leave. I would also involve the families much more in the treatment and rehabilitation.
We could do much better for kids if you took that money and reinvested it into some community programs.
It's much more cost effective to have reentry programs, to have rehabilitation, to have aftercare, to make sure that 9 out of 10 people don't go back to YA so that they continue to be a drain on the state's budget.
In the states that are doing the good job, like Missouri and in Georgia and in Texas and New York, the size of living units is about 1/2 of what it is in California.
In 1983, the state of Missouri decided to close its youth prison. Up until that point, Missouri had a system not unlike the California Youth Authority.
I recently went to the state of Missouri. What they have is about 3 dozen 35-bed facilities around the state. And they have everybody from their lowest level juvenile offenders up to their murderers. I visited some of them, and they have real furniture. They have sofas, and the kids have music, and they wear their own clothes, and they have bunk beds. It's really, really different. And it's amazing how different the atmosphere is.
I'm very familiar with the Missouri study. It is the best way to go. From my perspective, the smaller living units you have, you staff up with appropriately trained personnel, and that, to me, that is one of the better solutions.